Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and today we are talking about great news regarding Palantir Technologies PLTR stock and SOFI Technologies SOFI stock. We will start by discussing the latest Palantir stock news and price targets, along with how Palantir plans to navigate higher interest rates in the economy. We will also go over the latest stock news updates for SOFI stock, what their fair value price is, how high their stock price could go after their bank charter catalyst, and what analysts are currently pricing the stock at. I will also add my opinions throughout the video and why I personally own and hold both of these stocks for the long haul. Go and press the like button right now for more PLTR stock and SOFI stock news updates. Comment your Palantir and SOFI stock price predictions down below. Turn on all subscription notifications to stay informed, and now let's get right into today's stories. If you have looked at the market recently, you would see that many major growth stocks have fallen lately due to a multitude of reasons, but one of them can be due to the renomination of Jerome Powell as the chairman of the Federal Reserve, which helps regulate the economy to keep it healthy. Now, I personally think that retaining Jerome Powell was the smart move because we know where he stands on issues like inflation, stimulus, and interest rates. If another person took his position, it could have been worse for the market because the market hates uncertainty. But because Jerome Powell is still in his position, we can expect interest rates to slowly rise either in or over the next few years. This potential rise in interest rates relatively soon in the next few years is scaring the market because when interest rates rise, it will be more expensive for companies to borrow money and use debt effectively because it will cost them more, which is why many major companies are down right now in the market. Luckily, Palantir has basically no debt, so this affects them very little, but on the flip side, they have over $2 billion of cash on hand, and inflation will start to eat away at that value on their balance sheet over time, so it's a double-edged sword here. However, despite these developments, Goldman Sachs believes in Palantir, and so do I. As the Federal Reserve starts to taper off their assistance for the economy through what is sometimes known as decreasing the quantitative easing, this could scare investors, and as Treasury bond yields increase, we will see investors start to sell off stocks and put their money into bonds as a safer investment. The good news is that an analyst from Goldman Sachs has identified that Palantir does not solely trade off of its cash flow estimates, thereby negating much of the medium-term market volatility from the rising interest rates, which should shield Palantir from much of the blunt from the rising interest rates, along with other companies like PayPal, Zoom, and Meta Platforms. Currently, the Goldman Sachs analyst has a PLTR stock price target of $30, which will incentivize investors to buy the stock because it represents 44% upside from where the stock currently trades at, which is a massive gain. If you are a Palantir stockholder like myself, you would know that we have been on a wild ride so far, and that if you traded the stock between $21 and $27, you would have made out handsomely by simply buying low and selling high. However, I think the stock is a great long-term hold, and I do not want to trade it because I don't want to miss the boat. Palantir continues to post record-breaking revenues and earnings beats due to its very scalable business model. However, we should still keep in mind that Palantir is burning a lot of cash, and their stock-based compensation is weighing down the stock price. Palantir's current revenue trajectory and projected medium-term profitability can help us justify Palantir's high valuation, but if it keeps scaling upwards past then we could see Palantir eventually break $100 per share. But don't get your hopes up yet because this is not set to happen anytime soon, and if anyone predicts that it will happen soon, I would need to see hard data that verifies that extraordinary claim, so this stock is meant to be a long-term hold for faithful investors. Palantir has a very special relationship with the US government and their allies, who have loads of money to spend on their services. And on top of that, Palantir's top 20 customers have each, on average, increased their spending to Palantir by $41 million year over year. This means that Palantir is not only upselling their products to their customers, but it means that their products and services are so useful that their clients can't get enough and they want more. Overall, I am happy with Palantir's performance both regarding their PLTR stock and Palantir as a company, which is why I am personally bullish on this stock and I plan to hold it for the long term. However, Wall Street does not share my same conviction for this play when it comes to the big data company. Wall Street gives Palantir a sell rating with an average price target of $23.14. Out of 8 analysts that were surveyed, 1 says to buy Palantir, 3 say to hold Palantir, and 4 say to sell the stock, with the high-end PLTR stock price prediction coming in at $31, and the low-end Palantir stock price prediction comes in at $18. I personally think that Palantir is one of the best big data mining, analytics, and defensive plays on the market right now, but time will tell who was right. Now let's talk about Sofi Technologies, ticker symbol SOFI. SoFi is a fintech company, and they're a one-stop shop for all things finance related, and I have huge prospects for both Sofi Technologies and companies like Upstart. If we look at SoFi stock, we can see the stock is up around 55% in 2021, which even beats the NASDAQ index, which SoFi is a part of. Similarly to Palantir, because they have somewhat similar charts, which is kind of strange, being a SoFi stockholder has not always been easy, especially as investors start to cycle out of growth stocks like SoFi and into more value-centered stocks. The funny thing is that I think both SoFi and Palantir are trading below their fair value prices. For instance, I think Palantir has a fair value of around $30, which means that buying it right now and holding it long term could be a good move, and I think SoFi is trading below their fair value price, which I think is around $23, thus making it another good long-term buy in my opinion. Both Palantir and SoFi had great Q3 earnings reports and overall strong financial performance, but SoFi is about to do even better because SoFi said that they lost around 50% of their student loan revenues after payments and interest were temporarily suspended on them, but as the new year begins, that revenue will start to come back because students will have to start paying back their loans in Q1 of the new year, which means SoFi can expect a huge bump in revenues for their future earnings report. The reason why I like SoFi so much is that they are not only a disruptive company, but they also have an all-encompassing platform that can give you many types of loans. You can trade stocks and cryptocurrencies, they offer wealth management, and they even have a robo-advisor service on top of offering ETFs on the open market. So I am very excited about what this company can make of itself in the future. Also, SoFi has an approaching catalyst for their bank charter, which is going to allow SoFi to operate similarly to a bank, and the analyst and author of this article believes that their shares should be worth at least $25 or more. But be warned, by looking at the graph, we can see another bearish rotation coming, especially because of what's happening in the overall economy, like inflation and what the Fed decides to do about their quantitative easing policies. So if we do get a downturn, I personally would use that as an opportunity to lower my average cost price for the stock, but only because I am long-term on this play. Some investors are also skeptical of the stock right now because several original shareholders like SoftBank, Silver Lake Partners, Qatar Investment Authority, Red Crow Capital, and many others have sold some of their holdings, which has pushed the stock price down around 12%. But if you're long-term on this play, this ultimately just works in our favor because if we take the $25 price target from the CFA and author of this article, we're just going to have more upside for the stock as the price drops. Now, it may sound rather odd that I'm advocating for a stock where insiders are selling it, but if we look closely, none of these shareholders have sold all of their shares. They are all selling only a piece or a portion of their total stockpile. So it's not like they are dumping these shares because the company is bad. They're either dumping it for one of two reasons in my opinion. They either are low on capital and they need more liquidity, or they need that money for something else, or they're just taking profits, which is great risk management because I'm sure these companies have made very good returns on this stock. We also need to keep in mind that this does not dilute the existing shareholders because new stock is not being issued here. The company is not selling and issuing new shares. So there is a difference between when companies sell their shares or if they actually add to the total amount of them. Surprisingly, I would say Wall Street is bullish on SoFi because according to Seeking Alpha, who surveyed 8 Wall Street analysts, the average price target is $25.71, and TipRanks, who surveyed 6 Wall Street analysts, said that the average price prediction for SoFi is $26.33. So either way, we do have a good amount of upside here. The author of the article then goes on to re-emphasize that SoFi could easily reach $25 per share at a stable price within the next year, so it can easily exceed $25. I also like this article because the author, who is a chartered financial analyst, does not hold any SoFi shares directly or indirectly, so there's no reason for him to pump up this stock. Anyway, what do you all think? Comment your thoughts down below about Palantir and SoFi Technologies. Like this video if you haven't already, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next YT video.